Good morning, everyone. Tina Spalding, Trance channel here today for our Daily Course in Miracles lesson together. Thank you for joining me again. Today we are doing lesson number 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. No one can judge on partial evidence. That is not judgment. It is merely an opinion based on ignorance and doubt. Its seeming certainty is but a cloak for the uncertainty it would conceal. It needs irrational defense because it is irrational, and its defense seems strong, convincing, and without a doubt because of all the doubting underneath. You do not seem to doubt the world you see. You do not really question what is shown you through the body's eyes, nor do you ask why you believe it, even though you learned a long while since your senses do deceive. That you believe them to the last detail which they report is even stranger, when you pause to recollect how frequently they have been faulty witnesses indeed. Why would you trust them so implicitly? Why, but because of underlying doubt which you would hide with a show of certainty? How can you judge? Your judgment rests upon the witness that your senses offer, yet witness never falser was than this. But how else do you judge the world you see? You place pathetic faith in what your eyes and ears report. You think your fingers touch reality and close upon the truth. This is awareness that you understand and think more real than what is witnessed to by the eternal voice for God himself. Can this be judgment? You have often been urged to refrain from judging, not because it is a right to be withheld from you. You cannot judge. You merely can believe the ego's judgments, all of which are false. It guides your senses carefully to prove how weak you are, how helpless and afraid, how apprehensive of just punishment, how black with sin, how wretched in your guilt. This thing it speaks of and would yet defend, it tells you as yourself, and you believe that this is so with stubborn certainty. Yet underneath remains the hidden doubt that what it shows you as reality with such conviction it does not believe. It is itself alone that it condemns. It is within itself it sees the guilt. It is its own despair it sees in you. Hear not its voice. The witness it sends to prove you its evil is your own false, and speak with a certainty of what they do not know. Your faith in them is blind because you would not share the doubts their Lord cannot completely vanquish. You believe to doubt his vassals is to doubt yourself. Yet you must learn to doubt their evidence will clear the way to recognize yourself and let the voice for God alone be judge of what is worthy of your own belief. He will not tell you that your brother should be judged by what your eyes behold in him, nor what his body's mouth says to your ears, nor what your fingers touch reports of him. He passes by such idle witnesses, which merely bear false witness to God's Son. He recognizes only what God loves, and in the holy light of what he sees do all the ego's dreams of what you are vanish before the splendor he beholds. Let him be judge of what you are, for he has certainty in which there is no doubt, because it rests on certainty so great that doubt is meaningless before its face. Christ cannot doubt himself. The voice for God can only honor him, rejoicing in his perfect everlasting sinlessness. Whom he has judged can only laugh at guilt, unwilling now to play with the toys of sin, unheeding of the body's witnesses before the rapture of Christ's holy face. And thus he judges you. Accept his word for what you are, for he bears witness to your beautiful creation and the mind whose thought created your reality. What can the body mean to him who knows the glory of the Father and the Son? What whispers of the ego can he hear? What could convince him that your sins are real? Let him be judge as well of everything that seems to happen to you in this world. His lesson will enable you to bridge the gap between illusions and the truth. He will remove all faith that you have placed in pain, disaster, suffering, and loss. He gives you vision which can look beyond these grim appearances and can behold the gentle face of Christ in all of them. You will no longer doubt that only good can come to you who are beloved of God, for he will judge all happenings and teach the single lesson that they all contain. He will select the elements in them which represent the truth and disregard those aspects which reflect but idle dreams, and he will reinterpret all you see and all occurrences, each circumstance and every happening that seems to touch on you in any way from his one frame of reference, wholly unified and sure. And you will see the love beyond the hate, the constancy in change, the pure in sin, and only heaven's blessing on the world. Such is your resurrection, for your life is not a part of anything you see. It stands beyond the body and the world, past every witness for unholiness, within the holy, holy as itself. In everyone and everything, his voice would speak to you of nothing but yourself and your Creator, who is one with him. So will you see the holy face of Christ in everything, and hear in everything no sound except the echo of God's voice? We practice wordlessly today, except at the beginning of the time we spend with God. We introduce these times with but a single slow repeating of the thought with which the day begins, and then we watch our thoughts, appealing silently to him who sees the elements of truth in them. Let him evaluate each thought that comes to mind, remove the elements of dreams, and give them back again as clean ideas that do not contradict the will of God. Give him your thoughts, and he will give them back as miracles which joyously proclaim the wholeness and happiness God wills his Son as proof of his eternal love. And as each thought is thus transformed, it takes on healing power from the mind which saw the truth in it and failed to be deceived by what was falsely added. All the threads of fantasy are gone, and what remains is unified into a perfect thought that offers its perfection everywhere. Spend 15 minutes thus when you awake, and gladly give another 15 more before you go to sleep. Your ministry begins as all your thoughts are purified. So are you taught to teach the Son of God the holy lesson of his sanctity. No one can fail to listen when you hear the voice for God give honor to God's Son, and everyone will share the thoughts with you which he has retranslated in your mind. Such is your Eastertide, and so you lay the gift of snow-white lilies on the world, replacing witnesses to sin and death. Through your transfiguration is the world redeemed and joyfully released from guilt. Now do we lift our resurrected minds in gladness and in gratitude to him who has restored our sanity to us. And we will hourly remember him who is salvation and deliverance. As we give thanks, the world unites with us and happily accepts our holy thoughts, which heaven has corrected and made pure. Now has our ministry begun at last to carry round the world the joyous news that truth has no illusions, and the peace of God through us belongs to everybody. And that is our lesson for today, lesson number 151. All things are echoes for the voice of God. Let's see what Jesus has to say to us today. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And this idea of judgment based on incomplete evidence is something that you all must really take a look at. When you see something on your televisions, or you hear something on your Facebook newsfeed, or you listen to somebody on YouTube ranting and raving about something they hate, and you see people being incited into violence or war or whatever it is, they are basing their judgments on the surface actions of the egoic consciousness. They are not being loving in any way, shape, or form. They are in the battleground. They are at the ego's whim, and they are fully engaged with death. The ego will kill. You can see it in war. You can see it in murder. You can see it in family violence. You can see it in destruction of the environment. The ego, in its efforts to get what it wants and take, it will destroy everything in its path. And in the end, it can even destroy itself, as seen in the suicide victim. The mind, untrained, is dangerous. All of you who are doing these lessons must be beginning to see this, that the ego mind let loose on the world can destroy everything. When you are in your life now, we want you to really grasp this principle, because it is very, very important as a principle, that you do not know what somebody's past has driven them to. You do not know what evil thoughts are tormenting them from their egoic consciousness. You do not know the pain and suffering that they are living in. You do not know what is driving their behavior. You do not know. You barely know what drives your own behavior, so you should not be so quick to jump and attack somebody else for doing something that you do not like. We suggest that you stay in your own lane and that you focus on becoming better yourself, nurturing yourself, coming to train your mind, seeing how unloving it can be, relinquishing those unloving thoughts and beliefs and ideas, turning towards peace and compassion and joy, living a full life, investing in your own life, because it is the only one you truly are permitted to live. When you are interfering through judgment in another's life, you merely waste your own. For those beings that invest in themselves, clarifying their minds and training this most powerful creative device, the sky is the limit. They can do anything. Miracles become their way of living. Is that not a better path than to sit and judge others relentlessly? Your mainstream media systems are designed to get you to judge. That is what they are training you to do, in an effort to keep you underpowered and easily managed. We want you to become powerful and unmanageable, connected to the divine, guided by love, and leading the love revolution on this planet. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.